Hello and welcome to the Racetech UV8 SuperCar Series Round 1 from Interlagos, broadcasted by Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me this evening is Marco Barboneer. And Marco, this is, believe it or not, this only just pops into my head, this is the third full season we've covered us two, and also the fourth season, because we did half of season 4 as well. So quite remarkable. We know this series well, and we know what terrific racing we can get. Lots of familiar faces back again, and I cannot wait to get into this 11-round championship.
Hello Sam, hello everyone. Yes, I am so excited to be back, and we are starting, I think, in a track that will provide for some fantastic racing. I was looking at the cars. We have some astonishing new liveries. We have 29 drivers signed up for this first race. We have a new title sponsor, of course, for those that have been with us 2 weeks ago for the media day. You know some of them, you know some of the new colors, the new the classes are the same, but the banners are different. Today, the races count for real. We have a double header, so we have sprint and feature. And like I said, Interlagos is a track that I personally don't recall having Euro V8s racing around here, at least in the time I was a commentator for the championship. So, well, is this a track that always provides for some fantastic racing, and I think that today it will be no different. As I already noticed that I have a very bad idea of putting the car class in the number box, because of course the white car, the white class, it's impossible to make out the number, so I will promptly change and revert my decision. There we go.
I mean, we did have a media day, and the role of the media day is to solve issues like that. But
You are right.
well, if
You know,
if any of you viewers do notice anything else, do please let us know, and we'll address it. And hopefully by round 8 or 9 of the championship, we'll have a half decent broadcast to show all of you. The drivers are currently in qualifying. We've got 5 more minutes of qualifying to go, 15-minute qualifying for these drivers. And just looking at the quality of drivers, it is absolutely superb. And of course, Marco, last season, it was Nicole Foggy taking the title. Of course, season before that, it was Brandon. Season before that, Evdoka. Season before that, Taliancic. Season before that, Klusman. So we've had, 5 different champions, and 4 of them are on the grid. It just shows the staying power of these drivers and how much they absolutely adore this series.
absolutely, and it's fantastic to see Taliancic back and right now leading the way. It's nice to see, the tradition of the number 1 for the champion in this fantastic new XVR Sim Racing livery. As you can see, the one black and blue is of Foggy, and the one with black and gold is for Johnny Brandon. As in the meantime, Tony Klusterman goes up to P7 in the fantastic NQR Holden livery. I have to say, I mean, there are some fantastic liveries, and we should mention both for real reasons, and also because I wanted to show Clyde Whiting's livery for Vulcan Sim Racing, but he's in the pits right now, so unless he has a teammate running around, sadly, no, he's not there, so we will see him. It's nice to have the Team Vikings back with Erling Bomer. He was an occasional driver in the past in this series. We have Bobby Childs, of course, for D2D Sports, together with Chad Parker, his teammate. So I mean, some of the names, and of course the latest coup in the driver market, Arash Stadler, sporting his brand new, old Fitztime Motorsports livery. So certainly a driver that, like you said, is very capable, and a nice teammate for George McClay, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Those two kind of teaming up for this championship. And of course, two perhaps dark horses for this title. So I think we've already made our picks for who's going to win this season. I can't remember who I went for, but we'll see at the end of the season, see if we were correct. In fact, actually, quite a fun game from everyone in the league. All the drivers put their top 5 drivers in the championship. Who the top 5 are going to be at the end of the championship in order, and whoever wins gets a Racetech T-shirt, and who doesn't want one of them? So potentially a bit of bribery there, because that is quite a lucrative prize. It's safe to say.
Yeah, there is only
But
one small problem. I am not a
okay.
member of the league, so I could not participate, and this is.
Oh, well, I did it.
Yes, but I'm actually not in the league because, well, you are,
Oh,
of course,
right.
but I'm not.
Ah,
So I missed it, but don't worry, I'm going
can't
to be.
believe it.
But I'm going to be a part of the league soon enough because I have announced I'm going to take part in select rounds of the sprint series because
Ooh.
I, want to do my best as a commentator, and getting your hands dirty on the racetrack is certainly the best way to do so. Dominic Soare, nice to have him back as well. P24 right now does not improve. We also have somewhere on the track, here we go, Adam McNally for Excite Energy iRacing team. Basically the classes have been changed. Of course, now you have what was the red cars are now black with their black sunscreen there, and of course the yellow, the club championship, these cars now have a white banner, even though Sam Busin has got a black one. So I might, I think he's running in the other class. So now once again, it's the first round. We will sort these things out.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Qualifying almost over. Tony Klusterman is desperately trying to improve, but not able to do so. He has another lap to go, I think.
Yep.
So we might have a late surprise from him. Taliancic is still running around, but I think his qualifying attempts are over. Johnny Brandon is not having his timer pop up. Here we go, now he is. So 3 not so good sectors, and then he improved on his time. And here we go.
This could be dangerous for Johnny Brown. Was a decent run out of T12 into turn 13, but it is not an improvement, about 2/10 slower than his best time. Bobby Charles coming across the line. Michael Taliancic is approaching the line. I say he's approaching the line. He's still got a bit of the lap to go. We've also got Chris Jackson currently in P5, Klusterman in P7, Tononi in P15, and also Buzan, who was in P16, and looks as though he'll remain in P16 for the ASEA Racing Team. Great to see them back, and also always a very good livery on that car as well. Seemingly, it's just Taliancic and Klusterman remaining then. So Taliancic is approaching the line. He probably doesn't need to improve. This should be enough for pole position anyway. And Taliancic does not improve there. Klusterman comes into the pits. So that will be the end of his qualifying.
I'm currently investigating Sam Busin's class, by the way, so please have, a little bit of... Sam
I'm pretty sure... actually, would he be?
He's in the... okay,
club.
in the entry list, he's in the club championship, but he's sporting a black sun stripe on his car, so we'll have to get down to the to the bottom of that. Maybe we'll have maybe there was a mistake in delivery, but officially on the entry list, he is a driver in the club, in the gentleman championship, so to speak. And we have a beautiful day here in Interlagos, of course. The big change for this season, among many changes, we are switching to timed races, which will give a little bit of a better idea. Also, not only makes life much easier for the organizers as well, because earlier they would have to sort of guess the right race distance, to fit into the times of the broadcast. But here we go, the first starting grid of the season, Sam.
Yes, it's Michael Taliancic. I can't remember the last time he got a pole position in the States. Unfortunately, hasn't done many of the rounds in recent seasons, but he is on pole position by 0.5 of a second over Johnny Brown. Then quite a big gap back to George McClay in third, and Nicole Foggy, defending champion, in fourth. Chris Jackson, a solid fifth for him, with Victor Tanaka and Tony Klusman, his teammates, in sixth and seventh. Then Stadler rounding out the top 8. Good qualifying for Dave Janssen in ninth. Richard Warmium starts in 10th with Guy Croft in 11th. Also good qualifying for O'Connor in 12th. And then it's Branch, McNally, Tononi, Buzan, Moons, Whiting, Mueller, Woodwards, Bingham, Holmes, Galit, Suri, Hoffman, Parker, Charles, Bomer, and hopefully Michael Frost will also be taking to the grid. We've still got, of course, yeah, this is race 1, isn't it? So we've actually got a 2-minute grid up. So I rushed through that when perhaps it wasn't necessary, but we're just waiting for a few more drivers to get onto the grid. Of course, 20-minute opening race, and then at the end of the 20 minutes, we will have a random reverse grid and try to figure out what on earth the reverse wheel tells us.
I was doing a test earlier and it went out full +3, which I have no idea how we're going to interpret that. But here we go, race 1 starting now.
Here we go, Talyancic from the pole position, Brandon alongside, and away we go for Season 7 of the UV8 Supercar Series. Talyancic, really good starts away from Brandon, who might be able to get a dive down into turn 1, and it's the XVR driver who takes the lead on the opening corner. Nothing that Talyancic could do there. Foggy gets ahead of McClay, Klusman gets ahead of Tanaka, and also Woodward with a decent start near the back of the field. But as they all slalom through the Sunrise, get down into turn 4, you can see Foggy a little bit under pressure from McClay just behind. But so far, no collisions that I can see. Unfortunately, Clyde Whiting didn't take the start as Jackson now off the second. He's going to lose out to his team. He's lost out to Klusman already. I think he's going to lose out to Tanaka as well. As they go side by side now, the two drivers just about pulling ahead. There is Jackson, but Tanaka sticking it round the outside. They're all very nearly making contact, but Tanaka's going to be able to go round the outside and overtakes Jackson. So poor start for Jackson. He's down 2 places.
Yeah, nice clean start. Seems like everyone went through. Seems also like Clyde had a normal start. I don't know why in the timing it seemed like he was way back, but he's here fighting with the other drivers. Fantastic start from Johnny Brandon, and he's pulling away. But I mean, we have 3 titles in the first 3 places. Not a bad way to start the season, as lap 1 is about to get in the books.
Look at this run for Nicole Foggy. He's closing rapidly on Michael Talyancic. Will he look to the inside? Yes, he is. And Talyancic with barely any resistance whatsoever. And Foggy's almost locked up there. Just about gets it stopped now. Talyancic's got the inside for
some
turn
contact.
2. And he just about pulls ahead. And now Foggy is off the circuit and he loses out to McClay. Fortunately for him, the Never Quit Racing drivers have been tripping over each other so far on this lap. And he stays ahead of them for now. And yeah, so Talyancic hangs on to that one, and all that good progress that Foggy made has been undone.
Now Foggy under big pressure. Now first from Klusterman, but now mistake from Klusterman. Tanaka gets past him, and now it's Tanaka. You are saying right, the NQR Olden drivers tripping over each other. So this creates a little bit of a gap between the top 3 and everyone else. By the way, I was following the practice session, and I noticed that in this very corner, Nicole Foggy blew the engine with a normal downshift, as now he's side by side with Tanaka. Tanaka, of course, very, very spectacular driver. He's not afraid to throw the car and try to make the overtake. So I don't know if, there's a problem with the cars, or, if maybe that was an aggressive downshift in practice from Nicole Foggy, and it didn't come right with the sound while I was watching as a spectator. So I have to keep an eye on that as another lap goes in the books, and we start a new one.
Yes, of course. Last season, Foggy had engine blue on the first lap of the first race at Montreal. didn't lose him too much. Well, it did lose him quite a few points, but he quickly made it up by about round 4 of the championship, and then from that point onwards was absolutely dominant and took it with ease in the end. But this isn't necessarily the start that he'd envisaged at the start of the season, as Lane O'Connor into the wall was a good qualifying O'Connor. I believe qualified in P12, but way down the order now and with a significant damage, and it looks as though it's a self-spin.
We can have a clearer picture from here. Yes, he self-spun, but also Adam McNally had an issue just behind. Maybe he panicked just a little bit. Seeing the car spin in front of him go wide, he went to the grass and nothing major happened there. So he is good to go.
So it's still Brandon leading out. Taliancic under big pressure from McClay. McClay usually comes on really strong in the races, and it's very much a percentage driver, I'd say, is George. Rarely makes mistakes, and so does he have that cutting edge to overtake Taliancic? The fights for P2. They've got a 1.4 second lead over Nicole Foggy behind, and McClay, who dropped down to 4th on the opening lap. Taliancic, when he was under pressure at this point a couple of laps ago, he didn't defend going into turn 1. Once again, he feels the confidence not to have to defend. That's why he can keep his car ahead. But they are gradually losing time to Johnny Brandon. Brandon on that last lap all the way by 0.3 of a second. Here comes Mueller, and he has lost the car and just about holds on to it. And that is a very stylish move there from Michael Mueller, and he pulls ahead of Tononi. Great start for Mueller, up from 19th place into 12th.
Now under pressure from the Argentinian driver, tries to, get the move done, but also some boozing. Oh wow, some banging door to door. Reminded me of the crash that we had here, I think, in '94 between Verstappen and a whole lot of other drivers. Luckily with less dramatic consequences. But now Tononi, from 14th to... sorry, that was a misclick by me. From 12th to 14th. And now he's in the clutches of McNally. Let's move back to the front. You see Taliancic still defending from George McClay. Taliancic has taken, some time away from this car, Sam, but, talent never goes away, and he is absolutely having a, pole position in the fight for the win, so he's not having any ring rust, as they call it, no? He's pretty much in his element.
He absolutely is. Not quite sure what he's been racing in the meantime. Hopefully we'll be able to do a lot of races. I don't think he's said that he can absolutely do every single race, but hopefully, like, how can you draw yourself away from this? He's in 2nd position in a very high quality field, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of him for the rest of the season. Foggy is closing in on these guys now, so Foggy on that last lap was half a second faster, only 1/10 slower than his teammate out in the lead, so pretty clear that Foggy's got a lot of pace, and maybe Taliancic just holding them up a little bit. Here comes Janssen, and Dave Janssen having a terrific drive at the moment for Phantom 71, and is it Phantom 7? No, sorry, it's Phantom Sim Racing, apologies. But he's right on the tail of Chris Jackson, ahead of Harold Stadler and Richard Waring and Guy Croft. So Janssen having one of the best races I can ever remember him having.
You are a couple of season 3, back in season 4 it was Phantom 71, even
yes.
up until last season, I think, I remember the good old days of Bodak,
Oh, of course.
Those
we
were
don't
the
want
days.
to get into that mess.
No. So Janssen closing in. I can tell you, it's a fantastic. It's a joy when we see the cars on the Reta Oposta on the backstretch and see all the liveries and all the drivers in their new cars, in new teams or old teams with new liveries, and such a diversity of drivers. Really, really, this is the place to be if you like Euro V8, if you like V8 Supercar, sorry, and you live in Europe or North America, or not in a traditional area for these cars like Australia and New Zealand. This is the place to be, and most importantly, once again, if you want to join this championship, it's in its 7th season, it is absolutely free, there is no entry fee, the races are live, and you can get any driver that has joined last but not least, Bobby Childs said that confirmed once again the community is so welcoming. The top drivers will help you, will share their setups, and look at that, 29 drivers starting the first round of the season, and the action is already off the charts. Look at that, Dave Jansen, who missed a lot of the final rounds of the previous season, is now, trying to make up for the lost time and fighting with Chris Jackson, another of the veterans of this series. Oh, almost bumping into each other there. See the drivers struggling a bit. They had like 30 seconds of cloudy weather. Now it's back to the Brazilian baking hot sun. And so once again they will have to, maybe they thought, we can push a bit. But no, sun is back and, they will have to deal with the consequences for, I think, the rest of the race, which is, at the halfway mark.
Yes, 37 degrees track temperature. So not as high as it can get here at Interlagos. It is one of the hottest circuits on iRacing, considering that's, well, because it's in South America. I believe it's the only South American circuit on iRacing. They're going to have to...
Let me check something before we say anything. It is November the 15th, yes, so, because, we are in the southern hemisphere, so yes, it is May the 15th, but in reverse. So it's,
okay, that's the logic for that. Right.
Oh!
Cool. Oh, McNally in the middle of the circuit, and he does well at getting it out of the middle of the circuit, and remarkably, with pretty much no damage on that Excite Energy iRacing team, safe to say that they are one of the better energy drink companies, which are sponsoring a race team. Well, I'll leave that there. But no, Excite's very good. No, dropping way down, he's down to 21st place now.
We had a driver called Michele Ricci in my team, no? And so
yes.
for a bit we were running around with, joke livery in our IndyCar liveries with Ricci Energy on the side. Never we would have known that that was a much more serious company than the real one. And I will leave it at that.
McClay really gets in close, and all of a sudden it's not just a case of him trying to get second place, it's a case of him hanging on to third, because these three separated by half a second at this point. McClay closes in the slipstream, but the slipstream effect in this V8 Supercar is very minimal, and it is one of the most difficult cars to overtake in. It's very much a stop and start car, and so concertina effect is very large. And so the car ahead is always going to get on the path a little bit earlier than you and just expand that gap until the slipstream really does kick in. Here comes Foggy. This would be a brave move down the inside, big braking zone into turn 4. And Nicole Foggy, after dropping from 2nd to 4th earlier on, he's back up into the top 3. And that's his 3rd overtake of the day. I was just saying how difficult it is to overtake. Well, he's made it look very easy.
Absolutely. Great move there, absolutely great move. And now he will try to get back at Taliancic, but of course has to look in a mirror, because McClay is certainly not giving up on the podium so easily. Tony Klusterman has had an okay race, he's still 6th, but it shows how competitive this field is, Sam, that we have in 6th Tony Klusterman, in 7th Chris Jackson, Richard Wormingham is in 10th. These are drivers that can win on any given day, and there's so much variety, like I said earlier, and fantastic drivers that inevitably in some races some of them are going to get the short end of the stick and be left to fight for just the top 5 or top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll see more of that in future races. Often, as any series, you're going to lose drivers, but such a fantastic tight community in the Euro V8 Supercar series. I'm sure many of these guys are going to stick with it. Taliancic with a big slide, and you don't want too many of them because you're going to very quickly heat up your tyres. Fortunately for him, Foggy wasn't quite in striking range. See how these cars really do clamber over the curves. I must say, I do miss these curbs from real life. They changed them, I think, back in 2014, something like that. And kind of got rid of these vast curbs. This next one in particular is absolutely massive. And you can clamber all over. You can see there, Talianchich all four wheels over the curb. And you can go even further than that over it. But unfortunately, they kind of got rid of it for some more conventional curbs. As yeah, Foggy couldn't quite make the move into turn 10, I think that was. Brian Holmes, good to see him out there. I believe this might be his first time in the V8 Supercars because of a experienced driver, I believe, in the BSR leagues. But, well, he's sticking right now with Tononi and Buzan. Not a bad effort whatsoever.
Absolutely no. He's gained 7 places from his starting position. Look at that, the front Tononi and Buzin are still going at it, and they have been done so basically for the entirety of the race. See the damage on the front right of the Argentinian driver. As we move back to the front, because Taliancic is under massive pressure still from Foggy. Brandon is there. He is not making massive gains on these guys, but of course, you know, with your rear view mirror full of Nicole Foggy, of course, it is a bit more of a concern what's going on behind you for Taliancic than what is in front of you. And so those small gains lap after lap are becoming, you know, the 1.7 seconds lead that is now Brandon that now is enjoying. And with the 5 minutes left, looking good for the race win. But this fight is absolutely far from over, and don't count out McClay because he is very, very close and can really profit from any kind of mistake that these two drivers might have. They already touched once, so, you know, it could happen again.
Yes, definitely. Foggy's been really good at this part of the circuit. You can see he's desperate to get it done into turn 10. But, well, at the moment, it's quite easy to defend that move. You kind of just, whenever you make that move, it's a case of just mugging pretty much the other driver, catching them unaware. The main overtaking spot into turn 1, and you can see Foggy's just getting a little bit of a slide through 12. And 4/10 of a second behind, and almost time to lift out, I think, through turn 13. Just trying to take an alternative line. There really is no easy part of this V8 Supercar. Of course, just a reminder, the Ford and the Holden are absolutely identical cars. The only difference is you can see the Ford has a slight bump on the bonnets. Some drivers prefer it, can use it as a bit of a marker. Some drivers prefer it without, but it means that every single one of these cars are absolutely identical in performance. Really just comes down to the setup and the driving ability of the guys behind the wheel. Foggy is yeah, just staying within 0.3 of a second at the moment. Marco, is it just going to have to be a surprise move, you think, if he's going to get this done? Because Taliancic is looking errorless right now. He's absolutely looking rock solid.
Yeah, he's looking great. Once again, I'm very surprised by the way, you know, he came back and putting it on pole, looking good for the podium. And I think he's enjoying this. He's enjoying this a lot. This is a fantastic fight between two former champions. I mean, one of them, of course, the defending champion. And you know, once again, to see him come back and immediately... Oh, Tanaka! No, sorry. That is Tanoni. Sorry, I saw we have two Tans in the... I saw Tan in 14th. What happened? And of course, it's Tanoni who's having still a fantastic battle with Buzin. I'm sorry that, you know, we have so many battles on the track right now. By the way, I think this lap and one more for these guys, as Foggy looking to get out of the slipstream and trying to make the move.
Yes, Taliancic managed to fend off from this position last time. Foggy is super deep on the brakes. He's trying to get it stopped, and he has got it stopped superbly. Easily made the apex. And Nicole Foggy, at the second time of asking it, it took him a while in the end. After dropping a few seconds behind, he caught and passed Taliancic once again, and he's up into second place. And talk about damage recovery there. This is going to turn out to be a fantastic result if he can secure an XVR 1-2. This is what happened to Tononi then, picking up a 1x there, losing out to Holmes Buzan, sorry. And then he's actually lost out to Holmes and Whiting since then, and is now under pressure from Boma. Oh, and into the wall. It goes Tononi. Apologies, that was a replay.
It was. First strike of the season for Sam.
The thing is, after Sim Racers World on Wednesday, when something absolutely massive happened for the class win, and I just said, it's a replay. And it turned out to be live.
To
So
be fair,
I'm
the
a
last
bit
couple of
skeptical
rounds
now.
of Sim Racers World have had some pretty frantic race endings, so it was easy to get lost in the shuffle. By the way, that reminded me a lot of, I remember it back when I first started, watching broadcast on racing, back when I was not a broadcaster myself. There was always that commercial, on another sim racing broadcasting service, and it was like an Apex racing car smashing the inside of the wall there. I don't know who it was of the team. They always showed the Williams at Interlagos, the Apex car. Oh no, sorry, it was the dynamic track video, I think, if I'm not mistaken. The dynamic
Oh,
track
okay.
presentation video, as Foggy was a bit wide and is able to keep it in front of the steel of Tagliacci, so just a couple of wheels wide. Arash Stadler, in his debut for Fitztime Motorsport, is now getting very, very close to Janssen and actually maybe fancying his chances for a move. And this is the final lap of the race, by the way. So if you want to make a move, you make it now. And of course, now for the first time, you guys will actually see the new wheel in action and not a still image like we had 2 weeks ago. Samuli did a fantastic job in fixing the issue and getting to the bottom of the issue. But, new season, but the old face, one of the old faces, will be on the top step of the podium. Actually, all 3 steps of the podium.
Absolutely. Johnny Brandon approaches the line, and he's going to take the championship lead, apologies, and the first race win of the season. Johnny Brandon for XVR Sim Racing. It's a 1-2 for XVR Sim Racing. Him and Foggy, the top 2, Taliancic in third. And that is a fantastic way to start the season for those guys. We've still got battling down the field. Slipstream effect just isn't strong enough though in this car. It's so difficult to pull alongside by the time you reach the start-finish line. And looks so Holmes isn't going to quite have enough to pass Buzan on Buzan's return to this series. He finishes in 13th, Holmes in 14th. And still got this one, Galit versus McNally. After McNally's earlier spin, this could be close here. McNally goes to the inside and trying to cover it off. It's Galit. Is there going to be contact through turn 13? There is. Galit did not want to let that one go, but here comes McNally again. He's got really good straight line speed. Galit is going to try to cover it off. McNally pulls alongside. He's going to pull ahead and just about makes it. And they're going to smash into the wall now. Well, that is commitment from the pair of them. And, well, hopefully they haven't just gone over the instant threshold to gain some penalty points. Otherwise, that would have been very much of a waste of time. But, well, he didn't want to let go. You wouldn't have guessed that was for P16, would you, Marco?
No, absolutely. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations also to the winner in the club championship, Gary Croft for NQR Ford. Let's have, I think we can have, I want to have another look at that, I'm sorry, because that was absolutely crazy, but it's this one. I mean, this was a fantastic battle, and it was, you are right, I mean, McNally was a bit behind, so there must have been a mistake somewhere from Glide. Let's see. Here we go, yeah.
Maybe just struggling with the tires right at the end, because his face really did drop off. You can see a little bit of damage as well for him as well. And yeah, McNally out of position after an earlier spin. Absolutely rapid. But yeah, this was for P20
And,
in the end.
This is why we love this championship. And
yeah.
They came close to a disaster at the left-hander in the Arquibancadas, and they managed to tell the tale. So they said, okay, let's bang doors some more. This was so close to disaster. I think the light used a bit of the grass there, which is perfectly fine. Also almost a bit of the wall. McNally with a better run. Some contact, as you can expect, and a massive crash, but you know, it's after after the end of the race, so it's all good, you know. Okay,
Yes.
time to go through the race results for race 1.
Yes, and it's Johnny Brandon winning the first race of Season 7 of the Racetech UV8 SuperCar Series. Nicole Foggy went from 4th to 2nd and made a lot of overtakes, 4 overtakes in the end from Foggy. Really good performance there. Taliancic, solid 3rd from pole position. George McClay just couldn't really make the move on Taliancic. Maybe the race would have been a bit different if he had been able to finish this in 4th, so good solid points. Tanaka, good result for him, and a very close 5th, only 5 seconds off the lead. Gleesman and Jackson struggled a little bit. They fought each other for much of the race in 6th and 7th. Dennis Janssen, a terrific result in 8th place, beating Stadler and Warmingham, who round out the top 10. Gary Croft finished in 11th with a little bit by himself, actually, there. Michael Mueller finished in 12th with Sam Buzan in 13th. Then was Brian Holmes, Clyde Whiting, good recovery there. Erling Bomer, a very good recovery, 28th to 16th. There's one Pablo Tononi, Dominic Sawyer, Michael Frost, Anna McNally, Ben Galit, Bobby Charles, Lena Connor, Andrew Hoffman, Peter Bingham, Chad Parker, and then one lap down was Ronald Mears. So I believe, do you have to be on the lead lap, Marco?
Yes.
Dotson, you have to be on the lead lap. So Parker will be the last driver on eligible for the reverse grid. Moons was one lap down, and then you had Woodward and Branch, who were the retirees. And so, Marco, the first official reverse grid wheel of the season.
Yes, and here we go. So this time it should spin on your screen as well as mine. Well, let's roll it and see what happens. Okay, it's 26 minus 2, which means poor Chad Parker, I think he will not start on pole, not Peter Bingham, it should be Andrew Hoffman, Lane O'Connor, Bobby Childs, Ben Galite and Adam McNally, your top 5. Hopefully, like, if I made my calculations, you know, in the right way, which I think this time it should be right. But you know, Sam, we have waited 1 season to have a big reverse. We have it. You know, commiserations, of course, to Chad and Peter that got the short end of the stick. But I think, yes, the driver in P24, Andrew Hoffman, will be your pole sitter for race 2.
Yes, I believe all your calculations are correct, Marco. And yeah, Hoffman from the pole position, 24 reverse grid. And well, that is going to be tough for the front runners to make up. Are they going to make it up? Well, you've got to find out in about 25 minutes time or so. We'll be back for race 2 of the evening, 40 minutes, twice the length of this one. And I can guarantee it will be an absolute thriller. You do not want to miss it. See you then.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the Racetech UV8 Supercar Series live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, I am Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again, I'm joined alongside by Marco Barbinet, and we are just preparing for Race 2, Marco. It's double the length of Race 1, and we've got a 24 reverse grid. We were complaining constantly last season, why are the reverse grids so small? And first race of this new season, we get a very large one, and it's really going to mix up the order.
It is, absolutely, and like you said, double the distance, and 2024 is a big reverse. So the drivers that finished race 1 in front will have to contend with something that they are not very used to, because last season, like I said, we had so many small grids, small reverse grids, sorry. And so, you had 6, you had 7, you had 8. 24 is, a much bigger number, I can tell, even with my terrible skills. And it's going to be certainly, not only a matter of being the quickest, but also the smartest, because I am certain the midfield will have some drama as per usual, with such a big grid and in a track like this. So, qualifying there was no qualifying. Practice is over. Let's go through the starting grid.
Yes, and it's Andrew Hoffman on the pole position after that large reverse grid. Lane O'Connor starts alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then it's Bobby Charles. Adam McKnight might be a dark horse for this one. Michael Frost, Dominic Sori, Juan Pablo Tononi, Erling Boehmer, Clyde Whiting, Brian Holmes, Samuel Buzan, Michael Mueller, Guy Croft, Richard Warmiuk, Hal Stadler, Dave Janssen, Chris Jackson, Tony Klusman, Victor Tanaka, George McClay, Michael Taliancic, Nicole Foggy, Race 1 winner Johnny Brandon, Peter Bingham, Chad Parker, Lord of Moons, Anthony Woodward, and Greg Branch. We've lost one driver.
Yes.
I believe Clyde Whiting. No, is Clyde Whiting around?
Clyde Whiting is there in P9.
He is. Okay, so he lost one driver, but, well, nonetheless, and hopefully Michael Frost can get onto the grid. However, he seems to have missed it. The driver starting in 5th place. So, here we go. Race 2 of the season. Andrew Hoffman from the pole position. Can he hang on to it? As we start here at Interlagos. Great start for O'Connor straight away into the race lead. That jump on the inside of the circuit is really good. As Hoffman just muscle his way around the outside, he might be able to hang on to second place against McNally for the time being. Although McNally's trying to keep his car around the outside, almost has to go off the circuit to make the move. And Hoffman drops another position down into 3rd place. Bad spin there for Holmes and Stadler, I believe. And maybe also Croft dropping down the order. Branch having a bad start as well. So a few drivers getting caught up in that one. But out in the lead, it's O'Connor, McNally, Charles,
Taliancic!
As now Taliancic is round. And also Buzan as well.
Ooh.
And we've got another spinner. It's absolute chaos so far. McNally dropping down the order now. No, sorry. Warmingham, I think, having a poor start. So it's absolutely craziness right now. And some drivers have really profited from this first lap.
Oh, Soiree, that is... who's that sideways? There was someone pointing... Clyde Whiting, pointing in the right direction. Sadly, also massive mess here for Klusterman and Hoffman. And now Tony is in the grass as well, trying to get back, missing the front end of his car completely. Big drama in the first lap. And, like I said, that is, was to be expected, unfortunately. Also, you can see here a driver that ditched the Olden for the Ford between the two races.
I'm not entirely sure if you're allowed to do that, but Victor Tanaka has done it nonetheless, and he's up into 9th place, up 10 places from his start, and he's looking really strong, perhaps for this race win. So 1 lap completed.
Oh, Bobby Charles, no!
Wow, and Charles is on into the wall, managed to miss McNally. We've seen plenty of brake failure down into turn 1 before, and we've seen another driver go super deep. That's Dave Janssen. He had a good chance at getting a really good result. Has had superb pace today, but you can see the driver's just flying straight past him. As now we've got a change of position. Boehmer for Team Vikings. Past McNally. McNally comes back. Nice fights in between these two, and that is superb defense there from Adam McNally. Tononi on his first official race, trying to get involved as well. Has to go to the outside into 6 and 7. and you can see absolutely nowhere for his car to go. But these guys, Batsman's just going to invite the fast guys from behind. No change of position in this sector 2. So Andrew Hoffman already into the pits, along with I think Sam Boozen had to come into the pits, and also Michael Frost perhaps, or maybe those guys started from the pit lane, I'm not quite sure.
You are right.
I think Frost started from the pit lane,
yeah.
so that was a very wise thing to do there from Michael, so credit to him for having that cunning, because we don't usually see big incidents in this series on the opening lap, and it's understandable being the first race of the season. Bowman managed to get back past McNally, but here comes McNally again. Some 3 change of position so far in this lap, and 2 by 2 they came into lap 3 into turn 1. Bowman ahead now of McNally, who is going to have to start defending from the drivers behind. So nearly contact from Mueller and Tononi going side by side, and almost spinning it there is Tononi, and he drops back into 5th place. Nice move there from Michael Mueller. He's up 8 places himself.
Tony Klusterman in the pits already, and of course, you know, Sam, this is too early, so you will have to stop again, just like everyone else who stopped this early. It's too early to, you know, get your refueling in, so just a matter of getting the fast repair done, pushing as hard as you can, but these guys will have to stop again, unfortunately.
Well, I think Tony was saying the other day, wasn't he, that you can almost do this race without a stop. So maybe he's just reached that threshold, and maybe he'll be able to go to the end of the track temperature is 29 degrees. The lower the track temperature, the faster the cars are, the more throttle you use, the more fuel you use, basically. It doesn't really take into account the density of the fuel. Does iRacing. So the cooler it gets, the more fuel you're going to use, and this is relatively cool. It's relatively warm considering the time of day. So well, we'll see if Tony factors that in.
Lap 3 in the books, almost. Johnny Brandon is in 10th, McClay is in 11th. Tanaka is the leader, let's say, of the fast guys, sitting in P6. And you can see that he is defending from Nicole Foggy. So, braking hard, Foggy gets the fastest lap of the race, 34.8. Locking those brakes into the Senna S. And down the hill, Tony Klusterman purple, 3rd sector. By the way, Croft and Bingham are both in the pits. As you can see, the cars are darting left. There is some damage on the front right of Nicole Foggy, if I am not mistaken. And he goes a bit wide as well, but back at the front, it's Lane O'Connor, 2.2 seconds over Erling Bomer, Adam McNally, Michael Mueller, and Juan Pablo Tanoni in 5th place.
These guys starting to settle down a little bit, as we've almost got contact there. That is Stadler ahead of Brandon, ahead of Jackson, ahead of McClay. This is not a bad quality for drivers, as McClay's gone down the inside of Jackson there. Jackson just about holds onto it, but you can see Brandon kind of getting held up a little bit. Certainly, yeah, McClay will be hoping that this continues a little bit longer. So we're going to get different runs coming out of that turn 12. All about just squaring the corner or getting the power on nice and early. So difficult to do in these V8 supercars. And then from then on, for the next 20 seconds or so, it's all about the grunts behind that V8 supercar engine. As to the inside goes Brandon, and this should be pretty easy against against Stadler, as McNally's had an off. And that's has he got damage perhaps on that car? No, just gets across the circuit, but he's going to drop way down the order from 3rd position.
Sorry for the quick camera cut. I saw a massive amount of smoke. Oh, he lost the car under braking. And I think also Michael Mueller got a piece of him, of course, impossible to avoid. See if we can get a better look at that. Absolutely impossible. He did very well considering the circumstances. So McNally takes himself out of the race for the win. And there at the front, Connor enjoying a nice run without too many drivers behind him, you know, up close. 2.8 seconds over Erling Bomer, Tanoni, Michael Mueller, Tanaka, Foggy, Brandon. That's a nice list of drivers to have behind you. By the way, Gregory Branch fighting with Parker, and Branch getting actually in front of Parker, with Bobby Childs, his teammate, recovering after his issues. He has elected not to pit despite his big crash there. Oh wow, they did almost jinxed him. Almost jinxed him.
Jackson versus McClay. McClay's going to try it again, but Jackson resists again. Fantastic racing there. Jackson's so experienced in this wheel-to-wheel combat. As we see side by side, Boma staying ahead of Tononi, but Mueller versus Tanaka. Tanaka's trying to go to the inside, and Foggy's going to go through as well. And that was important for Tanaka to get done straight away, because he cannot afford to lose track position against Foggy. Surely Foggy will move ahead here. Good defense there from Michael Mueller. He feels as though he wants to battle as well, as he just glitches out, and that might just help him a little bit more. And the Phantom Sim Racing driver stays ahead of Foggy, and this is not what the reigning champion would have been expecting. And he's now being pushed back into his teammate, Johnny Brandon, just behind. He just set the fastest lap of the race, so not good here for Foggy, as we see a lot of contact. Boma and Tononi,
yeah.
And now Tanaka goes straight through the middle of them, and this has been a quite remarkable half a lap for Victor Tanaka. He's got a big gap over the cars behind, and here comes Foggy, almost contact with Boma. But yeah, lots of contacts amongst these guys right now.
Man, it's all kicking off, and Tanaka, I'm not saying anything, but he's having his best race in quite a while, driving a Ford. And, the last two champions have become champions driving a Ford. So I'm surprised that many drivers more drivers are making the switch to the Blue Oval, the legendary Blue Oval, back-to-back champions in the Euro V8 series. And at the same time, on a more serious note, Lane O'Connor enjoying 3.2 seconds of lead over the rest of the pack, as we have the two Fitztie cars fighting with each other, with Stadler getting passed by McClay.
Yeah, Stadler must have had a small mistake, because he's lost out to both Jackson and McClay. The top, second down to about 10th at the moment, are separated by about 4.5 seconds. It's ever so close. You could probably get them all in a single shot. Tanaka trying to break that trap, but you can see Tononi, who had a superb media day at Sebring, should be added. He's sticking with him, only 7/10 to a second behind, as Mueller and Foggy are side by side just behind these guys. And Foggy has had a bit of an issue there, getting shoved out, maybe a little bit of damage, or wait and see. But he's really struggled to get through this traffic after a sublime first lap. And his teammate Brandon a little bit reluctant to go for the overtake there. Do not want to cause any more damage for those two, but Foggy's car is really being beaten up right now.
Yeah, it's very, very tough driving, trying to pass a guy that is having connection issues like Michael Mueller, who, I'm sorry, it's 3 laps that I want to say this, staying true to his team's name.
Well done.
I mean, I will shut up for the next 30 seconds after this.
I'm sure Foggy will be haunted by this if he cannot get this move done anytime soon. As Mueller all over the place, surely that's going to be it. Foggy down the inside, Brandon's going to get through as well. No, Brandon was a long way behind going into turn 4, and if he was a bit closer, he would have easily got that. Now, all of a sudden, disappearing once again. And it's working pretty well for him. I've always thought if someone could utilise that, it would be of great advantage. Brandon just cannot get this one done, and now Mueller disappears again. Where is he? He's behind. Brandon gets the move done, and it's an XVR 4-5 after their 1-2 earlier on. Taliancic recovering after, of course, he didn't start high up, but he failed to make up many places on the first lap, getting involved in an incident himself. But his car looks pretty clean, and with the XVR drivers ahead getting stuck behind traffic, he might just still have a chance at a podium, perhaps.
Yeah, I think, if he can keep it going and then get to the pits, get a faster pair, in the pit window, which I think it should be open right now, he could certainly have, some good pace to, make...
Oh, into the wall!
Dear me.
And somehow doesn't slam back into the track, Adam McNally, and that's... Well, he's going to have to escape to the pits from there, and he does the wise thing. That could have been a lot worse. Could have had a 2003 incident there with Webber smashing into the barrier. Instead, it turned into a bit of a duress. He settled in the barrier instead. O'Connor, 0.4 of a second ahead of Tanaka. You feel this is when, not if. But there is of great reason for O'Connor to hang on to this one. It would greatly help his teammates. And so Tanaka may well know this and knows that he's got to be very decisive and maybe a little bit cautious at the same time, because a bit of contact for O'Connor will not affect him too bad in comparison to the driver he's trying to overtake him.
Tanaka side by side, he will throw the car certainly either now or in the first corner. As Foggy gets past Tanoni, here comes Tanaka, very wide from Lane O'Connor, and Tanaka gets the job done, and at the same time you see Foggy getting past Tanoni for third place. Johnny Brandon trying to follow suit.
It's taken these guys about 15 laps to gain pretty much all the positions that they lost due to the reverse grid. About 20 positions on average the front runners lost as Brandon's got past Tanoni up into fourth place. Here is McClay trying to get past Boma. Boma putting up a good defense. Ooh. And now Jackson tried to put his nose down the inside and perhaps was, well, he saw half an opportunity there, Jackson, and it's cost him a little bit. He got a bit of damage now.
Okay, so now Lane O'Connor is in front of his two teammates, and I think they will be on the radio with each other, and no need to make it tougher than this, because of course they know they cannot afford to let Tanaka run wild there at the front. Here comes once again McClay on the inside of the Norwegian driver, and this time I think he will get the move done. He has the inside. Jackson is trying to sneak once again and profit from this fight. He will have to wait a bit. Once again, the XVR trio plus Tononi trying to catch Tanaka for the race lead as we are approaching the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, a lot of action's already happened in this first 16 minutes. Cannot wait for the next 24. And of course, you don't have to wait because they are currently occurring right now. As Jackson very close to Boma this time. Team Vikings versus Never Quit Racing North America. And Boma with a good chance at perhaps a top 10 here. And very good on the brakes, Jackson. He's had a few near scares so far today. And that was another one. Stadler and Warmium queuing up behind. You got Taliancic as well, Branch, Janssen, all very quick drivers queuing up behind this battle. Of course, potentially a joker card put into this pack would be Tony Klusman, because he appears so early on. He's actually had free air for the past few laps, and he's been slamming in some good times. Consistent 35s, that's faster than pretty much everyone else out on circuit. Is a question of how far his fuel will go. Will he be able to get to the end of the race, or maybe will everyone else get to the end of the race regardless? difficult to tell.
We shall see the intrigue, you know, of this series, as especially in these feature races, the pit stop is not mandatory. It is, you know, recommended. But you can get away at the same time. You see, Chris Jackson is losing his patience, I think, with Erling Bomer, giving him a little bit of a bump. At the same time, behind them, we have Wormingham and Stadler. So 2x2 NASCAR style as they go through the arquibancadas once again, and behind them it's Taliancic and Branch. Look at this. Jackson gets the job done. Sideways again, getting into the corner. I hear some contact in the back.
Yeah.
Wormingham. Good save there. As you can see, the sun is setting. The track is becoming orange and more orange. Let's go on board with Gregory Branch, as is Taliancic, of course, struggling with pace because of the damage that he has. So I'm looking at him for a good run after. Oh! Almost an XVR disaster here. But that was
I've never seen those guys crash into one another, but
That
that
was-
was as close as we've got.
That was a stylish way of, moving out of the way for your teammates. You know.
Yes. I mean, they work brilliantly as a team, these guys. They are one of the best teams we broadcast on Apex Racing TV. Yeah, that was well coordinated, I guess, in the end. It's all about the results. Taliancic, by the way, up into 10th place, just got past Stadler, so he is having some decent progress. So yeah, that was, completely deliberate there from O'Connor. Lost Foggy and Brandon very little time in the end. So they've now got 4.5 seconds to catch up to Victor Tanaka. He's just ahead of these guys. There he is, just got past the back marker. And
Personal
well,
best. 35.2. So
Tanaka will, he'll be fancying his chances at this point.
I mean, if he wins this race, as Bomer and Soiree are in, if he wins this race, he needs to stick to the Ford, and everyone needs to change to the Ford. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's evidence enough, isn't it? Let's face it. Mueller under pressure now from McClay. Mueller has had an absolutely fantastic day, and I realise that he's glitching in and out quite a bit. But either way, he's been really impressive. Good pace, so too Tononi, backing up that performance from the media day. McClay edging through, and a bit of contact between the two of them. Now can Tononi get past Mueller as well, which he's been trying to do for many a lap already. Actually, round the outside goes Mueller and stays ahead, does the Phantom Sim Racing driver.
One Pablo to come into the interview booth so I can showcase my Spanish skills.
Yes. You've been learning Spanish as well?
No, I used to talk it very fluently, like 10 years ago. Then I understand it, but, speaking it is much. But, I can make myself, be understood and do basic questions.
Yes.
And also my current Spanish training is by watching Argentinian racing, Turismo Carretera. So he's from Argentina, and so I know all the terms, the important terms for the broadcast,
Okay. So. How many? So you can speak Italian, English, Japanese,
and that's it. No, I can speak Italian and English. And that's it.
and some Japanese and some Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's better than most people, I think.
I'm thinking that Brandon and Foggy are doing their, season 6 tactic of let's stay together and see what happens without forcing the issue, which is, a secret ingredient to their success, I think. No need to, rush through moves right now. Gregory Branch and Arash Stadler. With Stadler defending. Gregory Branch is having a good run today. And seems to be, knocking on the doorstep of the top 10. Knocking on the door. You would be weird to knock on a doorstep, I think.
Yes. I dared say any weird people knock on doorsteps. Actually, speaking of which, my house got a new door the other day. I'll just throw that in there. And it's got a door knocker, even more appropriate. Here
Wow.
comes Foggy. I don't know why it's got a door knocker, because it got a doorbell. But, you know, I guess it's for people who can't work doorbells. I'm not quite sure. Foggy, half second ahead of Brandon, still could see side by side. Sadler, Branch. Sadler holding on. And, yeah, hasn't been a great race so far for Stadler. Would have been wanting to be a little bit further up. Probably one of the best of the rest drivers, you know, along with kind of Warmingham and a couple of others, Antonia, and a few other drivers, as Whiting's had a bit of an off.
Yeah, he disappeared and reappeared. He's having some connection issues, apparently. Let's see, because he was fighting with Gary Croft. And then he parked. I think he's having some... He knew he had some connection issues and he parked the car.
That's a drift from Branch.
Yeah. Also, Tony Klusterman up to P13. I think he just went past Chad Parker, yes.
So right now, Klusman is 28 seconds off the lead. I believe early on he was 29 seconds off the lead, so he has been as fast, if not faster, than Tanaka. If they have to pit and Klusman doesn't have to fuel save, I think Klusman's got a very good chance at least second place at this point, but they seem to be quite happy absolutely pelting it round. And Klusman is pelting it round. Seeing that Klusman pitted on lap 2, I feel as though either they haven't got to pit or Klusman does have to pit.
And, you know, I'm looking at the pit lane times cone to cone and they are a mess. There's a wild variety. So, honestly, I have no idea how long will it take for the top guys to make their way through their pit stop, and McClay gets past Lane O'Connor. So O'Connor drops to P5. At the same time, Tanoni and Jackson are having a good scrap themselves. And now I think the pit stops should be coming, you know, around, you know, in the next 10 minutes, certainly. If they are coming. I think they are. But we'll see. Once again, another, you know, and I didn't do my homeworks before this race, because Tony Klusterman always tells us the ideal strategies or the predicted strategies, which is a better way to saying it. And I was too concerned about my reverse, you know, the new reverse wheel. So
I mean, at least it worked. You know,
but that is
all
you
that
know,
time and effort put in, it was worth it.
It is Samuli's, you know, it's you know, thanks to him, I didn't do anything. I only tried it.
Mueller now under pressure from Jackson. He's got used to being overtaken, Mueller, but he is still in 6th place. Great effort from him as Brandon's gone down the inside. Foggy trying to respond, and they've got to be very careful from one another. And Johnny Brandon is into 2nd position. And after claiming 5 more points than his teammate in race 1, along with potential bonus points that he claimed as well for not picking up any incidents, he's got a chance at outscoring his teammate by another 10 points right here. Good move. And, well, can he now catch up to Tanaka? Because so far, Foggy has just been losing time to him.
So, my prediction of the 2 XVR drivers staying put has been horribly disproven. Let's see what happens now, because of course, if they made this move, maybe they think that Brandon has a... I mean, Tanaka is, you know, not that much slower than the 2 XVR guys. So, I mean, he's enjoying the ride of his life right now, having a fantastic run and clean track all around him. See the track map to see where he is in comparison to the other drivers. and he has not a lot of traffic in front of him as we get through and start lap number 18. 27 minutes on the clock, 40 scheduled, so we are in the final 12 and a bit. Tanoni and Jackson. Again. Tanoni really putting himself forward as a serious candidate for Rookie of the Year. I know it's only the first race, but he has really shown some potential in Media Day and tonight. Taliancic also in Birmingham.
Here we go, down the inside into 4. And Taliancic with considerable damage to that car. He is up into 9th place though, and this is going to be a decent recovery drive from, of course, P3 in race 1. Did get pole position, but I don't believe you get any bonus points for pole in this race. If you do, then it's very minimal. And hopefully he won't get too many penalty points and some bonus points, because just a reminder, if you get 0 incidents in a race, you get 10 bonus points. For every 10 incidents you get though in a race, you get 10 penalty points. So of course, 14 incidents, you get 10 penalty points. 20 incidents, you get 20 penalty points. Hopefully it makes sense. So, and of course, that can really make a big difference to the championship. You could consider first and second in this race, difference between them will be 10 points. That's an actual gap difference, and so just by driving a clean race can overcome that.
I was thinking about something, and you know, if the pit window is open, and I think it is, why isn't Taliancic pitting? You know, so he can get fuel and most importantly, quickly repair his car. So, you know, maybe you were right in the first place. Drivers can make it, you know, from lights to flag without stopping. That would be interesting to see. Lots of intrigue coming up in this final 10 minutes in what has been a fantastic first round of the Euro V8 season. Look at Müller's car. I know it has a lot of damage, but I think most of it is, you know, due to the, you know, disappearing and reappearing constantly. That is usually, you know, registered as damage, but then it disappears. He's not really that smashed, or maybe he is. Tanoni gives him a little bit of a bump. Tanoni always, I mean, he has been in the war all day long, Tanoni, and he's fighting hard to keep his top 10. Not going to be easy. So back at the front. Sorry, Sam.
Sorry, I was just saying he's driving for X6 tenths black. By the way, that means existence black, which is a very cool name. So +1 for that one. There are some fantastic names. Rev Match Rev, whatever that team is called now, the replacement to Racecraft Esports, Rev Match Esports, I believe. Another cool name.
Absolutely.
As Greg Branch has come into the pits, so, well, could that be a sign, or is it a red herring, perhaps, that he's coming to the pits? Because still 8 minutes to go. Does that imply that these drivers do have to pit?
We shall keep an eye on that. You know, if the pit window is effectively, you know, open, or, you know, if they have to pit, they are leaving it very, very late, everyone. That is what, you know, makes me think that maybe these guys will be able to get home safe and sound.
I mean, they don't want to come out in traffic, do they? But at the same time, I agree with you that you would have thought at least one person would appear at halfway and put some new tyres on. But seemingly not. Zanoni loses out to Taliancic, who's up into 8th place now. Glusterman is only 10 seconds behind these guys and should... Oh, will he catch by the end of the race? No, he's not really catching. He might just get up to these guys by the end of the race. Well, Glusterman, if these guys don't pit, obviously. So, yeah. Good driving from Taliancic. Very good, yeah, damage recovery. It's got Mueller up ahead, and any further than that, well, actually, you could get O'Connor. O'Connor's only 4 seconds ahead. As Taliancic is actually being overtaken, is he? Going into his next
Oh,
corner.
he's
No,
around!
he's tapped him round, and Taliancic, where he has his sights set on the drives ahead, but all of a sudden he's dropped way back and back down into 11th place, and no fault of his own.
Replay of the crash.
Oh, well, actually it was his fault, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he
I mean...
just locked the rear wheels, didn't he? Just came across with it.
And then he got a little bit of help, but that, of course, was unavoidable. You know, when you are in such a situation, the smallest of taps and, you know, almost no reaction time. So I did my homework. I did them late, but Tony Kluserman said second race can be done with no pit stops, with little fuel conservation, just a little bit, but the tires won't like it. So, you know, he predicted some gambles, but we haven't seen them. So is everyone okay with their fuel conservation, or you know, are people maybe, you know, leaving it late because they know it's just a little bit of fuel conservation that will make the trick?
It's looking like Tanaka still pounding around. He is losing some time. Half a second slower on that last lap compared to Johnny Brandon. Brandon just locking up a little bit going into turn 1, I think. So Tanaka can pull away by about 0.3 of a second there. And it looks as though he is heading for a race win. And I'm not sure when the last time he won a race was, Victor Tanaka. Can you remember, Marco? Don't think he won a race last season.
He didn't win a race in my time covering the series, so
Okay.
you can see, you know, half season 4, 5,
So
6.
probably season 3.
Or in the beginning of season 4 where I was not covering.
Well, I did commentate on season 4, and I don't think he won a race. But not 100% sure. Hopefully he'll have an interview with us. He quite often does, Victor. So you know, he will enlighten us there.
So I was looking at the chat. Rift issues for Clyde, very unlucky. In this lap, first sector 2 tenths gained by Tanaka, second sector equal, third sector equal, fourth sector equal. And when I mean equal, I really mean equal. We are like in the 1,000ths of a second of difference. Let's see in the final. It's almost time for lights on for these cars, by the way. Not quite. And in the final sector, 2 tenths gained by, but you can see almost identical lap times. So what? Oh, wow! That was a great prediction. I don't know if you have the...
Oh, okay. No. Oh, they've just come on for me now, so I missed that slightly. But no, well done, Marco. Well done. And those lights do look fantastic because the most recent iRacing build increased the headlights from doing nothing to doing something. And boy, was that a welcoming change. And I must say, the cars look a bit dorky, I'd say. A bit cross-eyed with the lights, but I'm sure the drivers will be very thankful for those beams lighting up the track ahead of them.
So 4 minutes left. You can see the gap ebbing and flowing sector by sector. No one is going to pit unless they are in a desperate situation, and unless, of course, this is a big change for the season, the timed races. When we get the white flag, so, you know. But Tanaka seems to be in a good position and really enjoying his time up front. He will take the start-finish line once again, starting lap 24, and you can see this lap a bit better for Brandon, but not enough to come close to do you know, something.
They're going to get 2 more laps in, I believe, but only just. If they were 5 seconds quicker, they would have had 3 laps, I think. So if they needed any more help with the fuel, that is there for them. Tony Klusman is rapidly closing in. This could be just the worst. At this point in the race, Tony's saying, well, I've just come back. I've been by myself. I've just been putting in the hot laps. And I've caught these guys. Unfortunately for him, he's only got a couple of laps to go. And if he can get any of these guys, that would be a result. He will be thinking, why they made these races shorter? I swear they used to be 50 minutes in length. Because if he had another 10 minutes or so, he could probably gain about 6 places, but instead, it looks as though he's going to be able to maybe get 1 or 2. Strangely for him, you've got Stadler and Talianchich ahead of him, who are 2 very competent drivers. Not going to be easy to get past those guys.
Yeah, and, of course, like I said, not a lot of time left. By the way, let's see. Keep an eye on the race leader also. An issue for Nicole Foggy, I don't know. I saw him drop a bit of time compared to Johnny Brandon. Let's see. So the laps are 1:35s, and yes, I think. Ooh, what though?
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it? 7 seconds.
It's going to be very close. Chris Jackson with an issue, and Lane O'Connor gets back into 5th.
This is a completely unforced error from Chris Jackson. Had a nice gap over Ocon and just missing the break there off the circuit, and you really do lose a lot of time with the banking off the circuit there. Mueller has come into the pits then, so he struggled with fuel, and you really do think.
And he's not the only one.
If these guys had 1 extra lap, well, Tanaka's struggling.
Yeah, certainly didn't make a mistake. Let's go on board
or
with
is
him.
He trying to make sure that this is the last lap?
But sometimes I think iRacing gets the timing. Oh man, he's going very slowly.
Yeah.
He's struggling with fuel. Man, I'm on a roll with this prediction this season, Sam.
You should do the whole season, Marco.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. So have they... Maybe Tanaka crossed the line and it wasn't the white flag. Or is this the white flag? We're about to find out. I certainly haven't got a white flag thing. I can't remember if I usually get a white flag thing.
Oh, on the outside!
Around the outside! And Tanaka's defending to the inside. And now it's going to be a run to the line. Brandon on the outside, Tanaka on the inside. Tanaka's got the slightly short route, which, considering he's struggling with fuel, is going to be very good for him. He's going to pull ahead, trying to push Brandon off the circuit.
Final lap.
This is the run to the line. So it's Tanaka versus Brandon, and Tanaka is going to take it on the line by 1/100th of a second. What an incredible finish to the race. Well, Tanaka will be pleased that there weren't any more seconds. We were 7 seconds away from an extra lap there. But thankfully, from his perspective, he had just enough fuel to cross the line in first position. The other drivers are crossing the line now. So frustrating for Klusman. He's not going to get any of those drivers apart from Mueller, who of course made that pit stop. So bad day for Tony Klusman in the end. But what a finish, Marco, between those guys. There's Boma. Well, it's not over yet. Contact with Childs. Childs moves ahead, and Boma struggling up the hill. But like, that's what we want to see, Marco. If we get more races like that, where it's a tight one-stopper, we're going to be in for one hell of a season.
Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. What a way to kick off the season. And once again, Brandon in front of Foggy, but Tanaka in front of them both, and he gets a very deserved victory. And I hope a permanent switch to the blue oval, by the way, sweeps the proceedings today. 2 victories for Ford. Matter of fact, I think, well, no, not a sweep of the podium, because Taliancic finished on the podium in race 1, driving the Holden. But, all jokes aside, fantastic drive. Some of these drivers, by the way, congratulations to Gary Croft again for winning in the club championship race. So he gets a nice haul of points. Nice driving from Tanoni, finishes in P8. I mean, and Lane O'Connor with a fantastic drive. I mean, it's not easy to have a good reverse grid. and then keep it there, because he was in the lead for quite a bit. Usually when you get kicked out of the lead, you start dropping and dropping like a stone. He didn't, and he was holding on to P6. Then a mistake by Jackson, and he gets a top 5. So, but enough of me talking. Let's go through the final results for race 2.
Yeah, so it's Victor Tanaka winning out by 17 one-thousandths of a second. Yeah, incredible. 40 minutes, and that was the difference in the end. Every ounce of fuel, I think, counted for Tanaka right there. Boggy finished in 3rd place, a little bit adrift. Maybe wasn't really his day, wasn't a match for his teammate, but only got outscored by 15 points, I think, by Brandon, and that's very good damage recovery for him. McClay with a couple of 4th places today, and he's going to be Mr. Consistent, I imagine, for the entire season. Great result for Lane O'Connor, 2nd on the grid, and only 17 seconds off the win in the end. That is a terrific performance from him, and really taking his driving level up to a new standard this season. Jackson, with a late mistake, dropped down into 6th. Warmingham, a quiet 7th, but a typical Richard Warmingham 7th place there. Juan Pablo Tononi on his first feature race, his first proper feature race at least, in 8th place. Hal Stadler finished in 9th, and Michael Tyancic, a tough race for him, in 10th. Tony Klusman had to make a pit stop right at the start. He finished 24 seconds off the lead and was the fastest driver out on circuit for the vast majority of the race, but just couldn't make up that time in the end. Michael Mueller finished in 12th place after a very late pit stop. Ronald Moons was in 13th, and then it was Greg Branch, Chad Parker, Bobby Childs, Erling Bomer, Dominic Soy, Gary Croft, Peter Bingham, Samuel Buzan, Dave Janssen, and then 1 lap down was Michael Frost and Anthony Woodward. And then the retirees were Andrew Hoffman, Clyde Whiting, Adam McNally, and Brian Holmes. 28 drivers, and they sure provided a lot of action for us this evening. We're going to have an interview with Victor Tanaka, and
Yes.
his Discord name is Victory Tanaka, and that is very appropriate at this time because Victor, congratulations. I mean, if I were you, I'd be in a puddle of my own sweats at this point, along with many other liquids. Yeah, close finish.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so because we had planned that the race was gonna go 26 laps, and we were all planning on pitting, just for fuel. But then I was getting close. I'm like, wow, this is gonna be close to the finish, And I don't know if you guys caught on the broadcast, but I was gonna pull in the pits, and then I saw the Y flag, and then I just turned back on the track, and I think I had 0.9 laps of fuel left at that point. And then just lifting coasting all the way through. I knew that I could save a lot in the middle of the track, while keeping Brendan behind. But yeah, it was a drag race to the finish, and I coughed right at the line, so that was as close as it would possibly get.
Wow, well, quite an incredible race but what made it for you was really your start. You absolutely made your way through the traffic so quickly, quicker than anyone else, and that really allowed you to build that nice kind of 6-second gap.
Yeah, I think I got very, very lucky. There was a lot of incidents, like right in front of me that I just managed to pull away. I did touch Michael in the beginning there. It wasn't intentional, and I apologize to him, for that. That's not how I like to race. I think it was mostly that code, but either way, it was a little too aggressive. So yeah, I apologize to Michael for that. But yeah, I just think I got very lucky. There was a lot of battles happening right in front of me, and and as soon as they touched, like I just managed to to go through without losing too much time. So yeah, it was just very, very close, and it was a lot of fun for sure.
And we were wondering when your last race victory was, because it was a while ago, I imagine.
It was forever ago. Yeah, I don't remember either.
Well, it was certainly a great effort from you today, Victor. And do you think you're going to be able to do the next few rounds of the championship?
I think I'm gonna do most of the series. I will be traveling around September, so I might lose at least one race there. But yeah, but I'm in it to to go all the way this time, so it's gonna be fun.
Well, we certainly wish you the best for that one. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Just everybody in the team. We've been working really hard the last couple of weeks. Getting setups and trying a bunch of different things, and pretty much everybody going out there and trying their best. Has really pushed the whole team into everybody getting faster. So yeah, it was a lot of fun from everybody.
Thanks, Victor, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully.
Absolutely. See you guys. Thanks for the broadcast.
Well, next up, Marco, who are we going to have a chat with?
Let's have a chat with Johnny Brandon. I think he was certainly very, very good today. And hello, Johnny.
Hi, Marco.
So, nice win in race 1 and exciting finish, to say the least, in race 2. How was the night of racing from your perspective?
Yeah, fantastic. So happy this league started up again. It's it's great. I was a little bit of a miscalculation in the second race. I thought there was going to be another lap, and nearly got him. Just got out of shape, but did way too much fuel saving. Had about just under 2 laps worth of fuel left in the car. So, yeah, great race though. Well done to Victor. Deserved that. He did well.
Apart from race 2, of course, finished second, but apart from that, it's almost as close to the perfect start of the season as possible. So, I think it's with all these big names, Tanaka, Taliancic also coming back. Certainly, must be a good feeling for you guys to have, know that you still have the pace to be at the front of the field. And also, Lane O'Connor had a fantastic run in race 2.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, Lane's been doing really well lately. So last week in the little sprint series, he had a podium in one of the races. So he's been going well. He's been putting some time in and definitely improving, giving him some pointers here and there. And he's finding some pace, which is good, and he's enjoying it. That's the main thing. But yeah, happy to have some pace in the first race, like you say, with some people coming back into the series. Hopefully, there's a few more coming back for the next round that could make this one. And yeah, look forward to it. Great series, as you know.
Next week, sorry, 2 weeks time, going to add to Ulton Park the Foster's layout for Super Sprint event, the first of the season. And of course, Super Sprint usually equals, very, very closely fought races, lots and lots of contacts, and very physical kind of racing. And of course, it's shorter tracks, so it's going to be quite. I mean, today you had a lot of close quarter battling, but Woolton Park, especially in the Foster's layout, like the prototypical British racetrack with lots of grass and lots of ways to get it wrong and add up for the tire barriers.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully going to stay out of trouble. I'm going to try not to get involved in that this season. I think I got involved a little bit too much in the argy barges last season. So I'm going to try and keep out of trouble and see how we get on. But Tony had a lot of pace at Warren Park at the end. I think it was the third or second last race last season. And he had a lot of pace at Warren Park. So it'll be interesting to see if we can catch him around there. But yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait. It's the next challenge. Try and master it around Walton Park.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just you guys for the broadcast. Did a great job. Good to have you back. And all my teammates at XVR, VRA Virtual Racing Association, and Simortal models of all your favourite sim cars. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Johnny, and catch you in a couple of weeks then.
Brilliant. Cheers, Marco. See you then.
Sam, I was having a look, at the history books, which are, in my head, so probably wrong. But if you remember, in the Suzuka Enduro in season 4, the margin of victory was 0.088 across the line. So this could possibly, I'm not sure, be the closest finish in series history. And
I mean,
you'd be hard pressed to find a closer finish. I think.
I think the guy who's going to know whether or not it was is the guy that we're now talking to, Tony Kloostman. And quickly before we get into the interview, Tony, can you think of any closer finishes than 0.017?
No, I think that is the closest in history. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. In the end, a frustrating race 2 at least for you. Just take us through the opening lap, because it seemed like the first half of the lap you were okay, and then you just got caught up in one of the last incidents that occurred.
Yeah, the seas parted for me in the first 3 corners, and I think I made up, I don't know, 10 or 12 spots, which was really good. And then just got caught up with an incident that happened in front of me, and unfortunately, a significant amount of damage. Steering wheel was about 45 degrees to the right, so I had to stop after the second lap and take my fast repair. So 24 seconds behind at the end. I'm not sure how long that pit was, but it would have been close maybe.
I think it would have been, yeah, very clear. I think when you came out of the pits initially, you were over 30 seconds behind, so you're really closing in rapidly. I guess good news for you guys is that you seem to have a really good, strong team for this year. Yourself and Chris, and also Victor, who's got his first win for a while. You guys are really going to be testing each other, on the track and during testing as well for the entire season. It must be very positive for you guys to collaborate together.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Nicole and Johnny make a pretty formidable team, so it'll be interesting to see how we make out. And we want to challenge them at the end of the year. It's unfortunate that my luck seems to be continuing on, but anyways, next 2 weeks from now is another race, right?
Absolutely, and it's a very good race for you, Alton Park, which you kind of safe to say you dominated last season. One of your, one of your better circuits, certainly. You must be feeling quite confident going into that one after your win just 3 rounds ago in that around that track.
Yeah, really like Alton Park, and generally do well there. So happy with that. And that's luck of the draw. This new reverse wheel is going to certainly change things up. I was saying to Clyde earlier that has to be the biggest reverse we've ever had. 24 cars.
Yeah, it did. It caused a fantastic race too, and yeah, good effort from yourself to recover from that early crash. Before we let you go, Tony, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Racetech for sponsoring the series. Very happy to have them on board. All the guys on the team, everybody works really hard. Gary Croft this week did some really good work, and we were just off a little bit at the end, but next race is another chapter.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Tony, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Take care, guys.
So that was Tony Kloostman. Unfortunately, usually at the start of the season, we are here for a couple of hours doing interviews, but no one around today. Of course, if any Javs are watching this back, feel free to
No one
to join
wants
the
to
Discord
listen
channel.
to my voice today. After 3 broadcasts, people are, please. And that is why
you're probably sick of it.
I don't want to sound like cocky, but it's it's not usual that I hate the sound of my own voice, but right now it is, and that is why tomorrow you guys and because I am so happy that we are starting to make our way into the Australia, New Zealand territory, and the Aussie Mixed and Fixed series is back tomorrow, no?
Yes.
Or tonight for them. It's like in a few hours.
Yes. Let's say 12 hours from now, ish.
10:45 GMT.
Yeah. 13 hours and 39 minutes. There you go. Until that one will kick off. And if it's anything like the first round, it will be a lot of fun. Last week's race, if anyone didn't see it, was absolutely thrilling from start to finish. GT3 and GTE cars in that championship. So I'm really delighted to have an Australian series and also a series on a Sunday as well. We've been
yeah.
crying out for one for a while. Of course, on Monday, it's the World GT, the return of the World GT, and that is proper round one. It's not the media day. That is round one of the championship. And considering that I'm commentating on it, I should know where it is, but I'm not quite sure. We'll also have the BSR Mazda Amateur Cup as well on Monday evening, and then on Tuesday, and also Monday night we'll have the Rick Tech Sports Car Series, I think. And then Tuesday morning we'll have the Aussie split for the IMSA Sports Car Series. Then Tuesday evening we'll have the BRS GT Sprint Series, and also on Tuesday evening we'll have the BSR MX5 Pro Series. And then on Wednesday, we haven't got anything on Wednesday.
Yeah, sadly.
Shockingly.
Back in
Ah.
September, I've been told today, the Sim
Yes, 3rd
Racers
of
World
September.
Championship. So,
Yeah. So disappointed to see that one go, but we'll also have BSRTC next week, I believe. So yeah, that'll be a good one. That'll be on Thursday evening, and then of course on Friday evening we'll have the iRacing Le Mans series as well, which is always good fun to commentate on. And of course next Saturday we'll have the Sim Racers Asia series, and of course in 2 weeks' time we'll be back with this championship from Alton Park. And well, we had a fantastic round at Alton Park last season, and you certainly do not want to miss it. So, for now, from me and also from Marco, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.